guys, it's Eric and Dr. Sakeisha of Marriages Can Win, and we just wanted to take a moment to kind of touch base with you. It's something that we've been talking about amongst ourselves, and we kind of wanted to share it with you, get your feedback, and just see how you feel about it. As you know, social media tends to dominate lives today. You can't really go anywhere or do anything without technology. So we've been talking about and teaching us in one of the small groups that we're participants of, who or what is influencing your spouse?
A lot of influence.
Lots of things are influencing our spouse, and there's so many things that are taking time. They're stealing our time and our attention these days, and we just really wanted to talk about it today. Is that all right?
Yes.
So we wanted to be mindful that there are ways in which we can positively impact our spouses, and we don't allow other things to kind of steal away that time that we really need to spend together. Make sense?
Makes sense. And let's talk about the 3 ways that are positively affecting or influencing our spouse.
Okay, well, number 1, be respectful. There's so many times that we interact with couples and we notice when they're talking to one another, there's no respect. They're talking to each other any kind of way.
Yes.
Rolling the eyes, rolling the neck, and you're like, whoa, you guys really talk to each other like that?
Now, we even had a couple that cursed each other out and called them names. Remember it was a young couple?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Ooh, time out. Each person needs to go to their own corner because that makes no sense.
So respect is big.
If you got to get to the point where you're starting to disrespect your spouse, y'all need to be in separate corners.
Exactly.
I mean, huge time out. Make sense?
Makes sense. Now, some of that needs to be taught at home from their parents. They should have taught some kind of respect. Hopefully, maybe that was just one instance, but
yeah. But the other thing to be mindful of, sometimes we understand things happen. There's stresses on your job, bills that need to be paid, kids that are pulling for your attention. There are always things that are vying for our attention these days, but we have to be mindful not to take that out on our spouse. That's the time to connect with them and say, hey, I'm having this issue, I'm stressed out. Your spouse should be that safe zone where you run to if there's an issue. You shouldn't be disrespecting them in the process. Make sense?
Makes sense. So that means we have to be supportive.
Yeah, which is point number 2. Be supportive of your spouse. I mean, you should always be your spouse's biggest cheerleader. There should be no secretary on the job. There should be no coworker, no family member or friend that's more supportive of your spouse than you are.
Right, because you don't want there to be an outside influence that they are saying, I'm getting more support outside than I am getting inside.
Wow.
That's a negative influence.
Step on some toes, but that's the truth. One of the things we always pride ourselves on is being transparent. You do need to be respectful and you do need to be supportive. But number 3, you need to be what?
Attentive.
Attentive. Your spouse should not be last on your to-do list.
No.
We have these huge to-do lists, and I'm for one and guilty. I have a huge to-do list, but I know one thing. After going through different phases in our marriage, he is not at the bottom of my to-do list. He's actually at the very top.
Hey.
To do. I mean, we're saying it in a funny way, but the truth is that doesn't happen all the time in marriages, and we just wanted to make sure that we were honest and transparent about it. So make sure we have those 3 key points, that we're respectful, we're supportive, and attentive.
Especially when you come home from work.
Yeah.
Because most people say, I always have a hard day. You've been working all day, tired. And when you get home, that's when you need that support. You need to come home to a loving atmosphere.
Yeah.
Not a hostile in that atmosphere.
Now let's be realistic. What's some of the time stealers? What are some of the things that can steal your attention or your time away from your spouse, So it could be things like social media. Are you always on your phone?
Oh, wow. Everybody's always on their phone, whether they're driving, they're walking, and when they're eating, it's just part of your body now.
Yeah, no cell phones is a policy when it's time for dinner. You and your spouse have to come up with what's going to be the best thing for the 2 of you guys. But while we're eating dinner, turn off the TV, put your cell phone down unless it's an important business call. But even then, just be mindful. You've got to make sure your spouse isn't last on your to-do list. Even things like work. You come home and you're overstressed at work and you wind up bringing that stress home and taking it out on your spouse.
Oh no, that's a no-no.
So we found ourselves in that situation at one point in time, and we had to make a decision. What are our options. Could I work shorter shifts? Could I change departments? Can I change stores? I mean, my husband had the same with his stress level at his job.
Right. Also, you have to also learn to leave work at work, and when you get home, you switch roles. Because when you're at work, you're the manager, you're the boss lady, you're the shot caller. And when you come home, roles return.
Yeah.
And I'm the boss. I'm the shot caller.
And that can be a hard thing for women because a lot of us, we're type A personalities. We're accustomed to being in charge. We're accustomed to stepping up and handling things, juggling many hats, taking care of the kids, helping with the bills, the house, going to work, running these businesses. But you have to learn which hat to put on and which hat to take off.
Now, here's something that is very common, especially for girls. Those friends. You always have those friends that are single, never been married, can't keep a man, broke, busted, and disgusted. They're trying to tell you what you need to do with your man. Oh, if I was I wouldn't do this and I wouldn't do that.
Okay.
They're always trying to tell you what to do, but they are single, been hurt, bitter, ritter, and critter. I'm just thinking of things that rhyme because...
Yeah, now you're creating some stuff. But in other words, learn to establish boundaries, meaning realize who's qualified to speak into your life. Who has the wisdom and knowledge and the experience that can help you take your marriage to the next level. So you're not competing against your spouse, you're complimenting them.
Now also, we talked about friends, but family is number one. In-laws. In-laws are always, it seems like in every marriage, I always notice that in-laws are always,
not every marriage.
When especially with the husbands, the wife be like, oh, you know, so-and-so's coming, and you're like, the in-laws, how long they gonna stay? Because they always like to influence your marriage. Now, sometimes they can be okay, but the majority of times, they always want to be like, honey, you know, you should do this here, do this, or let me give you this here. You know, y'all should do this, and you should buy this house, or you should buy this. You know, those are the things that need to be outside of the family, outside of the marriage.
Okay, in other words, the two of you guys got to keep that threefold cord that's not easily broken. You, your spouse, and God, and you guys make those decisions together. It doesn't mean that you can't have another opinion, but the three of you guys have got to make that ultimate decision together.
Now, you know what? If you were to email us some stories about outside influence, whether it be friends or family, I guess our inbox would be full of stories. So guess what? I'm opening it up to you. Go ahead. Email us some of your stories that you had some outside influences in your marriage and you feel that it could have been, or you need to know how to handle it. But tell us some of those stories. I bet it's probably worse than Halloween, some horror stories.
Oh my goodness. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to bring this on to an end. As a married couple, there are going to be several different ways that we can influence the hearts of our spouses.
Yes.
So number one, be trustworthy. As your spouse needs to be able to trust you, you need to be able to trust your spouse. So that means whatever they tell you in confidence needs to remain in confidence. It doesn't mean your sister, your mother, your brother should be repeating to your spouse what you told them in confidence. Make sense?
Makes sense.
Okay? Number two, always have their back. If they're fighting, you should be fighting with them, not backing them into a corner, feeling like the world is against them. We realize everybody's not perfect. People are going to make mistakes. I get that. I totally do. But you should have your spouse's back.
Exactly.
Number three, let me make sure I take this and let me get this note. Make sure that I cover all of these points with you. Point number three, we talked about being supportive in their endeavors. Your spouse should not have to go to someone on their job, a cousin, a friend, auntie, uncle, to be supportive of their endeavors. You may not agree with everything. I understand that. Unless they're doing something illegal, can get them arrested, then, you know, at least tell them how you feel, okay?
But that's an open window for distraction. When you start going to someone outside of your marriage, you know, the husband's going to women outside, talking to them at work and telling them their problems, or women going to some other men and saying, you know, my husband, that's an open window for disaster.
Yeah. So then the next point is make sure your home is a safe zone. Meaning that you need to be able to communicate with one another. If there's something really going on, they need to be able to talk to, you need to be able to talk to one another about it. being honest. I understand that no wife wants to hear my husband's attracted to somebody else, or no husband wants to hear that their wife is attracted to someone else. Exactly. I get that. But I would rather your spouse come to you and say, hey, there's something going on at work that I want you to talk about. So it's either we could talk about it amicably, or someone says something to you, then you really have to deal with it. So make sure that your home is a safe spot. Be it, I'm stressed on my job, I'm not sure, you know, what to do about X, Y, Z. Your home should be that safe haven for your spouse, okay?
Yes.
Now the next one, always pray for your spouse.
Prayer is the key in every aspect of your life. Prayer is what holds your relationship, your marriage, your family. It needs to be priority in your family.
Yeah. The next point is to be passionate. When you were dating your spouse, oh boy, it's you were always complimenting them and just, you know, touching and spending time. And all of a sudden, when he comes home, is don't touch me, don't talk to me. Matter of fact, don't look at me. You need that passion that you had when you were dating should still exist after you're married. Matter of fact, you're married, is legal. You can just really roll out the red carpet, if you know what I mean. And if you don't, send me an email and I'll give you specifics, okay?
That passion that you had to try to get that woman and get her to be, you know, all about you, you got to continue that throughout your marriage. But now, you know, like they say, when the honeymoon is over, that's when the wife has the mask on her face and she has the thing, you know, well, you know, there's got to be some thought given to that.
Yeah. But then the last thing is prioritize. Like we said, your spouse should not be last on your to-do list. They shouldn't be getting what's left over after everyone at work has exhausted you, family members have exhausted you,
children,
business partners, children,
homework,
yeah,
business.
Yes.
Especially if we have a lot of couples that they're in business together. So that's a whole nother teaching there, balance between work, business, family, and relationship.
Oh, yeah.
When I'm talking about family, we're talking about your immediate family. But then you also got to balance with outside family and friends, and then church, and then, you know, outside activities, you know. So that's a whole other teaching.
Yeah, actually, I think we already do have a teaching on that. I just have to find it and we'll upload it. So send us an email if you want that teaching. Yes. I'll find it, try to upload it. If not, I'm sure I still have my notes. We'll re-record it and get it to you. But this was just a quick little snippet. Wanted to come in front of you, talk a little bit about what's been on our hearts, some of the conversations. This is what goes on in the Heilig household, and we just wanted to open up the house and bring you into the conversation. So make sure you email us, you follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and marriagescanwin.com.
Yes.
And we love to hear from you. If you want a consultation, make sure you email us, marriagecanwin@gmail.com.
Also, you can go to Book Us and then put in some information in there and send it to us, and we'll check our calendars and we'll be right back with you.
All right. We hope you enjoyed it. You have an amazing day. Talk to you soon.
All right.
All right.